What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rip, and this week I'm performing at the Mamas, which is the Madison Area Music Association Awards. And I thought it would be fitting to give some stories of past performances as well as some advice to some of you aspiring artists out there. Hang tight. All right, so right now I'm probably at the Overture Center in Madison, Wisconsin, preparing for the Mama's performance tonight. I'm actually probably doing sound check right now if it's the afternoon, or I'm just doing some last minute errands or getting ready for the show tonight. So I thought it would be fitting. As some of you know, I've been performing for over 10 years now. So obviously you've been performing or doing something that long, you have a lot of stories to go with that experience, and you have advice you could offer as well. So I thought it'd be fitting to give some advice and some stories on this week's episode of Sell Out Sunday, since today I'm having a pretty big show at the Mama Awards, and I'm also nominated for 2 awards as well. I'm nominated for Hip Hop Song of the Year for my song What You Gonna Do, and I'm also nominated for Hip Hop Performer of the Year. So again, I just thought it'd be fitting to give you guys some performance stories, live performance stories that I've had in the past, as well as some advice to some of you aspiring artists out there. So I'm gonna start with a couple stories. I remember the first real live performance that I consider live was in Kaukauna, I'm from Illinois, so I was in Illinois at the time, and I got booked all the way in Kaukauna for Drop Fest with the Yin Yang Twins in 2004. And man, I remember I brought CDs up that time, and I swear, I bullshit you not, like, I remember I had all my albums pressed up, my Coming Up in the Game albums pressed up, and we performed a majority of the songs on that album. And I remember I sold like 60 CDs that day. I'm not even lying. Like, people weren't even paying attention to like the acts that were on, and it was like public announcement, like Cuckoo Cal, all this stuff, and like we in the front row, and I was just like selling this box CDs. It was like gone in like not even 15, 20 minutes, no lie. I sold like 60 CDs. Now, I was selling them for like $5 a pop too, but I made like $300 that one day, my first live show ever. And I was like, dang, dude. And I ain't never made that much money again from a live performance, no lie. That was like the most money I ever made. No, but I sold like 60 CDs for like $5 a pop, like 55 or something like that. And man, that was back in 2003. And when I was younger, man, that was like a lot of money to me. That was like 2004. So that was like 10 years ago, and I was like, dang, I need to do this more often, and I've yet to match that. You know what I'm saying? So, but people don't buy CDs anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was back in the heyday when internet wasn't even that big yet or anything like that. So, man, that was a dope story. I remember. If you guys watched my Making of a Sellout film documentary, you would know. You saw firsthand at the Dane County Fair last summer in 2013 in July. My drummer was late. Actually, I couldn't find him, and it was sound check time. And we were looking for him, and you know, we were on a time crunch. And I just started freaking out because I was like, "Where's my drummer?" I jumped through all these hoops to get him to perform with me. You know, usually some of the other artists, they just had themselves and maybe one other person. I had a DJ. A female singer, my hype man, and then I jumped through all these hoops to get a drummer, and then come time for showtime, he's MIA and we couldn't find him, and I tried to call him or whatever, and I get a text on my phone saying that he's at the cinema. Well, he like pocket texted me or something, and I'm like, what I was about to flip a lid because I thought this dude was at the cinema for real. Like, what the hell are you doing at the cinema? We supposed to be sound checking. Like, his drums were already set up. I thought he like set him up and he left, and he was doing his own personal thing, and I was about to flip out. So I was like freaking out about that because I jumped through like all these hoops, and then lo and behold, he was like somewhere near. He ended up coming in, and everything ended up being fine. It was last summer as well at the Taste of Madison, and I was performing with my guy A&T, and I don't know what came over me, and I was standing by the side of the stage, and for some reason I started getting nervous, which I get nervous at every single show. Like, I've been performing for 10 years, and I still get nervous before every single show. But I was getting nervous, and I was literally about to be up in like a minute or two, And then for some reason I just all of a sudden zoned out and I couldn't remember any of the lyrics to my song. Like I was trying to like perform my song in my head, and I don't know if the other songs that were playing in the background were like distracting me, but I could not for the life of me remember my own lyrics, like my first verse or the second verse. Like I couldn't remember how I started off with my song, and I started freaking out because they were about to call me up on stage in like less than a minute, and I couldn't even remember. I don't even remember. I think I started freaking out. I was about to get on my phone and like Google my lyrics. I was going to Google my own lyrics because I couldn't remember what the heck my lyrics were. Then there was a time when I performed at the B96 Summer Bash, and I had my cousin's kid come out who was a 7-year-old at the time, and he was drumming on stage for me. And here he is, this little 7-year-old kid, my cousin's kid, you know, drove all the way in from North Carolina, and he's sitting on stage at his drums, and there's these girls on stage with these assless chaps, and I'm just sitting there like, and his parents were like, yeah, this kid's getting an early taste of the rock star lifestyle. Oh yeah, there was this other show when I was performing with A&T as well. We were at the Orpheum Theater in Madison, and we were performing with Lupe Fiasco, and A&T and I were specifically booked because we have a song together called Dream Girl, and we were specifically booked to perform that song together. And we had about 20 minutes on stage, so him and I, you know, we timed everything out, like where we performed with like 2 songs of our own original songs, about 3 or 4 minutes each, and then him and I at the end would perform Dream Girl together and just finish the show off. I mean, that's what him and I are known for, you know, is our song Dream Girl. So he does his set, and then I come to do my set, and by the time we were ready to start Dream Girl, I think we had like less than a minute or something remaining. Or no, I was still performing my What You Gonna Do, and they were trying to cut me off. They were trying to tell my DJ, Aaron J, like, yo, you're done, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't even get to Dream Girl yet. And I don't know what went wrong because we timed it out where we had enough time to do it and stuff, but you just know, like, things happen, ad-libs, and, you know, things just happen when you're performing live. It just happens that way. And we ended up not being able to perform Dream Girl, and that's still to this day upset me because that was like the song we were supposed to do together. I know my girl was there, and like a lot of other people came to watch us perform that song, and I was really upset because we didn't even get to perform the song that we were booked to do and that him and I are known for. So it was just kind of like one of the things like, what the heck, that was kind of pointless. But no show's pointless. All shows are good exposure, and that's going to bring me into my next topic, or where I'm going to start giving some advice really quick, some advice. All right, my first piece of advice is a very important one, and it especially reigns true when you really start to value yourself as an artist and you really start to respect yourself and others start respecting you. But I would say from the very get-go, from the beginning, you know what I mean? Always have respect for yourself as an artist and value yourself as a performer. Never pay to do a show. You should never have to pay to do a show. If you have to pay to do a show, you don't have enough fans, you don't have enough following, you don't have enough buzz. You need to go back to the drawing board because you should never have to pay a promoter to perform at a show. And that kind of ties into what my main piece of advice was for this whole topic, and that is never, ever, ever consider yourself, bill yourself, or label yourself as an opening act. I see so many artists, especially like hip-hop artists and a lot of these people, and they're like, oh, I'm opening for so-and-so. I'm opening for so-and-so at this place on this date and blah, blah, blah. I'm opening. If all you consider yourself is an opening act or an opening artist, that's all you'll ever be. You don't want to be known as an opening act or opening artist. I don't even know when I stopped billing myself as an opening act, but from this point on, whenever people book me to do shows, I don't even look at myself or consider myself an opening act. I bill myself, I promote myself as just as one of the artists on the bill, and that's what you are. You're another artist on the bill, and if you have that mind frame or that mentality that you're an opening act, that's all you're ever going to be. And if you're okay with that, so be it. I personally don't see myself as an opening act, but of course I've been doing this for 10 plus years, and I have value and respect as myself as an artist. So that's a big piece of advice I could offer out there, is never label yourself an opening act. One other final piece of advice I have for you, and this especially reigns true in the hip-hop community because I see it all the time, and that's when you see people performing and they never sound like they do live as they sound on their album. And the reason for that is because a lot of these artists out there, they're stressing. Everything is so loud. The monitors on stage might be very loud sometimes, and they're trying to hear themselves in the mix, or they're trying to it's almost like they're screaming in a way, and they sound nothing like they do on an album. And one of my biggest pieces of advice is that you need to have trust in the audio engineer that is out there. That is what they're getting paid thousands of dollars to do. That's what they do for a living, and their job is to make you sound good out in the audience. Their job is to make you sound good to the public. So while you're on stage trying to shout so you can hear yourself on stage over the instrumentals and over the tracks and everything, you're making it harder for the audio engineer. They're bringing you down, and all you're hearing is in the audience is yourself shouting, and you sound nothing like you do on the album. So when you're performing live, try to sound like you do on the album. If you have a more calm flow or delivery on your album, try to sound like that more on stage. Like, of course, you're going to be more amped, and you're going to be more hyped, and you're going to be in a different environment than you were in a recording studio, but still try to have that same flow and delivery. Have faith in the audio engineer that he is going to set your levels the way that they're supposed to be set, and the people out in the audience will still hear you. You don't need to scream, you don't need to shout. Just because everything is much louder on stage, you don't have to do that. Have faith and trust in your audio engineer, because they are there to make sure that the people can hear you in the audience. So you don't need to scream, you don't need to shout. And I mean, that's pretty much the best advice I could give you for you live performers.